Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Blair and Kalib All Things Horror podcast. In this podcast, we will be talking about all different types of entertainment when it comes to horror. My name is Caleb McCown.
And my name's Blair McCown. My brother and I have been into all things scary for a couple years now, and we love discussing our opinions and thoughts on different categories. And now, as the listener, we want to get you involved too.
Couldn't agree more. In this podcast, we'll be breaking down all kinds of different forms of entertainment when it comes to horror. Like Blair said, we have watched all kinds of different horror movies, watched TV shows, played horror video games, been a part of different horror experiences, and make no mistake, we are not the bravest bunch. We are definitely the kind of people that love a good scare, and that's one reason we love horror stuff. We love the,
hmm
the jump scares. We love getting scared. We love turning off the TV, looking at each other, and going, "Oh boy, we could be in trouble." So, with that being said, this was just something that me and Blair have always wanted to do. Now, with that being said, we are going to be breaking down these forms of entertainment in different categories. The first category for us is the story and plot line. Now, all these different forms of entertainment, they are going for some sort of story or some sort of objective, okay? Especially with movies and TV shows. Is there a beginning, climax, and a good finish? Does the story make sense? Are the characters written well? And is it entertaining? Okay. And that's not just for movies and TV, but video games as well. It could even be a horror ride for all I care. From the beginning of your horror ride experience to the end, how did you feel? Was there a moment you were most scared in? Anything to add on that, Blair?
Just if you felt convinced or if it was boring, like, would you end up suggesting that to someone else?
Couldn't agree more. Yep. And especially this is the kind of stuff that with our grading scale, you're going to get our recommendation as well, whether you value that or not, but that's what's
hmm
going to be coming. Next is acting. Now, one part of the background for me and my sister, we're both people that love the theater business, love doing acting and stuff like that. Blair, if you want to go off of that a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually in LA and Caleb is in Indiana. And here in LA, I have moved out here for the acting experience and have gotten to dive into that a little bit. So, the acting, when we get to grading that, we take it very serious. We take all of them very serious, but we have just a different connection when it comes to the acting and can be maybe a little harsh. So, it's interesting. We're excited to hear kind of what you guys agree and disagree on.
I couldn't agree more. And like Blair said, we definitely have a something that we can relate to that. Does that make us A plus actors and actresses? Not necessarily,
No.
but it's something that we're like we definitely enjoy focusing on more. And yeah, we definitely want to hear your opinion on that. But how well do the actors portray their characters? Are they able to convince us that they are scared, that they are in danger? But on the flip side, are they the evil ones? Are they actually wanting to do harm and so on and so forth? And where are they as the villain? Next category will be the overall horror and scariness of the movie. Okay, one thing like with this category, me and Blair, we've watched so many movies in the past where it's just a bunch of jump scares, and by the end of it, we're like, well, that doesn't really create the horrorness and or the scariness that we're going for. I mean, once the
Yeah,
movie's over, it's like, all right, that was interesting. We jumped a few times, but was it scary?
right.
Did
Did it
it?
become like too predictable?
Yes, that's a great way to put it. Is it don't go in there, don't do that, and
Yeah,
everybody knows what's coming. Now, sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. And I mean, how many times, Blair, have we watched a movie where we're like, the more simple the better,
oh,
just do
yeah,
this.
absolutely.
Let the mind wander, and then the movie or the game or anything, you know, screws themselves over by showing us what we were better off just imagining, which
Exactly.
in this
Exactly.
category we have is the movie scary? Does it create a genuine fear? Are you left actually scared with what's coming up? Or is there a psychological fear like, oh my gosh, is this actually happening? Is this something that I should be scared of? And
hmm
last, of course, is there a lasting fear? When I turn the thing off, am I still like, this is,
It sits with you. It's hard to
yes.
go to bed that night.
Yeah. There has been nights where me and Blair, we finish a movie and we're sitting in the living room and just like, maybe we should stay here another 30 minutes and just let's just talk about something fun.
Let's
Let's what
yeah. Let's watch The Office for a little
let's
bit.
we gotta watch The Office for a bit. Something to counterbalance. Let's just pray. You wanna
Yes.
pray?
Oh yeah. Gosh. Well, we used to watch two scary movies every Sunday and
Yes.
specifically on Sundays.
For a reason, and we had to. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Scary Movie Sunday for the longest. It was the best, which in a way is what led to a lot of what we are doing now. When I tell you
absolutely.
folks, this is something we love doing. Um,
Hmm.
Next category is the setting. Does the environment complement the movie? And this, we've watched so many movies again in the past where either just the setting itself, you're like, oh my gosh, this is where they're at. Oh my,
Right.
this is
Or it's too
horrifying.
much.
Or it's too
Or
much.
yes, vice versa.
Yep.
But
Or
even
even
also, yeah, maybe like not enough or also like sometimes like you said earlier, simple is better. We've seen a couple where it's just done in one room and
yes.
it's good. It can be good because you almost grow like an attachment to the room. You know where everything is and you kind of get to play along in a different way. But sometimes that's not good. We don't want to know. But you can talk more on that.
Absolutely. And just like as well, we've watched movies where we've also had moments where like, man, we really wish that they added more. Like,
Hmm.
why did they stop here? We could
Yes.
have done so much more. Oh, and then by the end of it, they start showing us random places and moments, places and like just areas we haven't seen the whole time. It's like this is supposed to mean something. So the
Right.
setting is something we very much keep in mind when it comes to our movies. But so setting is a grade. Next one is going to be the costumes, the makeup, the CGI. All things that deal with, the characters and how they look. And,
Hmm.
this one, going back to what I said earlier, there have been times me and Blair have screamed, less is more. And
Yeah.
just creates, a much more scary environment. You don't always need to see the the guy cutting up the person in 30 pieces with 25 gallons of, blood and corn syrup to build that environment. Sometimes you're just better off you letting your mind wonder what the heck is happening.
Yep. Absolutely. And
But
even with like the CGI as well, like how realistic can you make it? Did you really need to use CGI? And there's a couple movies that are already coming to my head that I'm really excited to talk about. Um, Ones that could have gone down the CGI route but didn't. They ended up doing like makeup and props, and it was fantastic. Um, and others that did use CGI and it maybe didn't go so well, or that did. There's just so many different movies, and I can't wait to dive into it.
yep, same, and I couldn't agree more. Some people use it right, and then there's some that just strike out. So, and then there's some that, you know, didn't use it, and it's like, ooh, kind of wish you would have maybe paid
Tweaked
up a
it.
little more. It just
Yes,
depends on what's going on. And so
absolutely.
that's costumes. One more time, our different categories: story, plot line, acting, horror, scariness, setting, costumes, makeup, CGI. So those 5 categories right there, ladies and gentlemen, are where we're going to be coming up with our overall grades. So,
Hmm.
Blair, do you want to break down our grading system?
Yeah, absolutely. So our how we have it is from F to S. So F being the worst. It just really missed. Nothing was good about it. Would absolutely never suggest it to anyone, let alone probably ever watch it again, is what I would say for F. Um, I don't know if you agree with that, Caleb.
No, you nailed it. Couldn't agree more. And there's some
eh,
that even come to mind right out of the gate where
oh, absolutely.
I
that are
think of
just so bad.
oh, it's tough to even get through it, but we've
We
definitely had
do.
some experiences.
Absolutely. But no, yes, and we do. We stick through it. We give the movie its chance, but
Hmm.
we only give its one chance. But then we would go on to D, that is still not very good. Probably wouldn't suggest it to others as well, but it had something about it that just kept it at least going. At
Yep.
least gave us something to work off of, but either we were missing, like we wanted more, or it just was not scary. Didn't hit the mark. It didn't fit the categories.
Yep.
Um,
And I would say this grade right here is the one that almost hurts to give out the most
yeah.
because we see sometimes what they're going for and we want it to work so badly, but it
Hmm.
doesn't. And they
It
drop the
doesn't.
ball pretty massively, which is why it doesn't get an F, but it gets a D
But
because it's like, all
yeah,
right, this
we can't
hurts
go
before it's
higher.
over. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. I do agree. I feel like D might, based off some of the other, what we've graded in the past, I feel like D is the least we give out because we try to give very honest and good answers in our opinions, of course. But D, I agree, D is the hardest to give out. Now, on to letter C. I feel that when we give out letter C's, it could be better. um we see potential when we give out letter C's. We see where they're going with it, what they're trying to do, but we just needed more. We needed more. And sometimes also when it comes to the grading system, we do like C plus if we need to give it a little bump, like trying to decide if it was a lower C or a higher C. And again, that all just depends on these categories and how they come together. Um, but see, we really see what they're trying to do.
I like that. Yeah,
Yep.
I couldn't agree more. C, and I'm glad you even brought up how we go like C plus or C minus, and that almost like basically decides if we recommend it or not. I would say
Yeah.
when we give something a C, this would be the definition of somebody saying, "Hey, do you want to watch this?" And we're like, "Yeah, I'm okay with watching it." We'll never be the ones to recommend it, but we
Yeah.
won't be the ones to say, "Oh, this is dumb. Don't waste your time." We'll be like, "Okay, yeah, I'll watch it again and
Hmm.
we'll see what maybe my opinion will go up or down, but it
Yeah.
couldn't get
It's
more basic for us when it comes to the C a lot of times."
I agree. It's definitely sometimes, and if it's a C plus, like it's definitely worth giving it another shot and seeing if we miss something, or if we pick up on new things as we go, and if it just changes our opinion a little bit.
Exactly. I mean, I can even come up with a couple movies right off the top of my head
Oh
where
yeah.
there were things that were in the higher tiers, A's, B's, like whether it was acting, setting, but then you get to the scariness and the horror of it, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
it wasn't that scary,
Right.
or I don't really know if I like the story plot. There's been times when there's too much, not enough.
Absolutely.
So I can't bash the acting because the acting was, in the A category,
Yeah.
but everything else was in the D or the low C. So I'm
Yeah.
like, this is why it is where it is.
Exactly. Exactly. Completely agree. Um, Now for letter B, definitely we would suggest this to someone. Um, Again, you got us on board. Like we're liking what you're doing. We definitely have some opinions still, and on what we think could be better or how we would change it. And again, kind of like what you just said, Caleb, like it could be that acting was fantastic, but the costumes didn't go with what they were doing. And it just brings it down. Or the plot's great, but the scariness of it isn't considered part of our categories that we of what we were expecting. Um, but B, we tend to recommend B. You did good. You did something right.
You, you
Um,
did good.
yeah.
That's a good way to put it. With B, like you said, it all comes back to you did so many things right that were like, yeah, we would tell people, let's watch this. It's a good time. But
Hmm.
you know, whether it was like, oh, the whole story plot was great, but then the ending was crap,
Yeah.
or the ending was great and the whole story was crap, whatever. Or so there's so many reasons that keep it from being that A, but also we're like, we can't disrespect this movie and put it in the C category. I would watch this again with a smile on my face or tell others people to watch it. So
Yeah.
B's, you did something right.
Completely agree. And there have been some B movies that we don't end up rewatching because it just wasn't our favorite. But like you said, we aren't gonna disrespect it and put it lower because like we said, we really break it down and we give it the best thoughts and opinions we have. We're
And
not
we'll
gonna
tell you what
disrespect.
you should have done better.
Yeah.
In our opinion, we'll tell
Yeah,
you
we
what you should
will.
have done better. You know, we won't shy away from why it is what it is.
Exactly. Yep. And then for letter A, I mean, yes, we like A, you did it. You did a good job. We probably have watched it more than once. We enjoy it. We watched it with friends. And also like it just all came together. We see what you were trying to do. You met our expectation and it was good. It was good. Now why it didn't make it to an S, which S is the best, superior. You did it. That is you went over our expectation and surprised us.
And I'll even say
Um
with A,
yeah,
you'll find that when we're talking about it, we start pointing out the most nitpicky things ever because they did
absolutely.
everything else right. When we start breaking
Yes.
down things down to the smallest degree, it's usually a compliment to whatever we're watching, whatever game we're playing, or whatever movie or TV show is on the screen. You know,
Mhm.
we're scared, but
Yes.
something to a small degree kept it out of that S tier.
Mhm. A's, I definitely think are so fun to talk about too because like you said with the nitpicky, it's kind of just suggestions at that point of like what maybe like could have happened or what could have been better or like what if they would have added this. And by all means we're not right. We haven't made a movie. We don't know. But like it's just fun. Those are fun conversations of like if it happened like this, if they would have just done one little change, what would it have been like? Um
And we even come to find a lot of times like me and Blair do not agree always on like what is an A and what's a B and what's an S. More
Oh
often than
yeah.
not, we'll agree on like a D, a C, and an F. But once we get into that higher tier things, there's things that sometimes, you know, Blair thinks is an A, and I'm like, maybe B plus for me. But then for myself, I'll go, oh my goodness, S, you did it. And Blair's like, I don't know. This is kind of like I see a lot of greatness, but now that's an A minus B plus for me. So
Yeah.
this is
Yep.
where it gets fun. A lot of those lower
Yes.
grades, it's easy to look at each other and go, okay, how nice do we want to be? But
Yep. Nope, I completely agree. And with the S, those ones are fun. I will say I feel like those are for sure rare. Like we don't give out S willy-nilly.
very.
Um you had to definitely surprise us. Something there had to have been like, wow, we didn't even think of that or like it just was so good. Everything was good. So those
It,
ones will be fun. There's a couple I can think of. There are a couple that we'll
but,
talk about, but
oh, for sure. You know, when you get to the S and you start getting into not only just like an iconic scene, an iconic character, setting, you know, something that you're like, yep, this will never not cause some fear in me. It doesn't matter how many times I watch this. And you know, that's where I think horror and scary movies and like a amazing suspenseful like psychological thriller is
mhm.
harder to do than any other, you know, form of entertainment. You know, when you
Yes.
know that that jump scare or things like that are coming, it wears off. But if
Yeah.
you do it right and it has that lasting effect, you have an S tier scary movie or scary,
Mhm.
you know, in a form of entertainment. And I think
Yep.
that's, you know, comedies, you know, I love comedies, love a good comedy, love a good
Mhm.
drama. You can watch those movies over and over and still have that feeling or get that laugh. A lot of times, horror and scary movies lose that effect after you've watched it at least once, which is
Yes.
why that S tier is so difficult to get. But we've got them.
Mhm.
and we've
Oh yeah,
watched them.
we. Oh yes, there's a couple that I'm excited to talk about.
So
Yep.
yep, and then
We-
we get to the last thing. Blair and myself will give our overall grades over
Mhm.
the movie or whatever we're watching at that time, and then why. So we could not be more excited to start this. This has been a dream for us for a while, just to have
Mhm.
these discussions and then get other people's opinions. And make no mistakes, that's what this is for us. We want to discuss, enjoy our times with a form of entertainment that we absolutely love, and hope to
Yeah.
bring you guys on this journey with us. So
Yes, and we're excited to hear if you agree or disagree. Which totally bring on the disagree. Tell us why we're wrong.
please.
We love it. We love to discuss.
And there's the key for discussion for us, because a lot of times if people bring up things we missed or like we never thought of before, we'll go
Mhm.
back and regrade it. I love
Oh,
that.
absolutely. We'll go back and rewatch it. Yes, of course.
And Blair, if you want to tell the folks what our first um, movie that we're going to bring to this podcast is going to be, go ahead and lead them into that.
Yeah, absolutely. Our first movie that we're going to discuss is the movie Lights Out. This is a well, I don't want to talk too much about it. I don't
If
want
you,
to.
I would say if you've seen Lights Out, I can't wait for you to watch and hear what our opinions are. If you
Yes,
haven't, this is a good scary movie that we both agreed that we should kick off this whole podcast series on. We've watched this one, crap, Blair. I think I've watched it 3 times myself. If that gives you a hint on what we think about it.
I know that's that's what I was thinking. Yeah, I've seen this a couple times. Um, but I mean, I'm excited to break it down and discuss
Yes,
it and really get into it and why we think what we think.
couldn't,
It's a great one to start off with, and it's also PG-13. Um, so it does good. It
which is a
does
rare
good.
commodity in itself for horror and scary
Yes,
stuff.
completely agree. So
Well, I don't
yes.
want to. We don't want to talk too much more about other things that are coming up with this movie. We hope
Mhm.
you come with us on this journey. We can't wait to discuss these things with you. Blair, do you have any final thoughts before we close off our very first pilot episode of this podcast?
We're just so excited. We're thankful that you guys are here, and we just hope you get a laugh out of this, and that you go and watch some scary movies. That you enjoy this as much as we are.
All right, and this is again final words from Caleb, Blair
Blair.
again. All right,
Yes.
thanks again, everyone. We hope to hear from you. Over and out.
Bye.
Bye.